The history of the Daleks. The Daleks are one of the most feared races in the universe. Their creator, Davros, only has one intention: destroying all life apart from Dalek life. The Doctor has stopped them on several occasions, but somehow they just keep coming back. The Dalek origins. The idea of the Daleks was created by Terry Nation. They appeared in the second Doctor Who story called The Dead Planet in 1963. Raymond Cusack designed the original Daleks. Since then, there has been little change in the basic design. The Daleks come from the planet Skaro, sometime in the future. Their main leader and creator is Davros. Over the years, there have been many different Dalek spaceships, but the classic design is in the shape of a saucer. The Daleks have tried just about everything to take over the universe, but luckily, the Doctor has always stopped them. If you've ever wondered about the colors and the hierarchy of the Dalek society, we'll take a look now at the different color schemes. We'll look at the classic series Daleks. This is pre-Davros. We'll look at the Skaro Daleks first. These were first seen in 1963. These Daleks lived in Skaro. They are powered by static electricity from the floor of the city. Because of this, they were unable to leave the city of Skaro. Their main enemies of the Skaro Daleks were the Thals. The original Dalek warriors, first seen in 1964. These Daleks invaded the Earth in 2164. Unlike the previous Daleks, these could travel anywhere because of the disc on their back. They also had a higher base, which made it easier for them to move across the Earth. The Dalek Saucer Commander, seen first in 1964. These Daleks invaded the Earth in 2164. The Dalek Command, this Dalek commanded the saucer, and it had a zebra, silver and black style color scheme. The original black Supreme Dalek was first seen in 1964 and is one of the Daleks that invaded Earth in 2164, but the black Supreme Dalek was in charge of the Earth-based operation. The Dalek Warrior, also first seen in 1965. Original solar-powered Dalek warriors. After the Dalek failed to invade Earth, they made their own time machine to find the Doctor and exterminate him. These Daleks have solar panels on their midsection, which replaced the disc and allowed them to travel anywhere. The Chase Daleks, you can see the addition of different colors. We have gold or yellow and blue. These are guard Daleks. These Daleks could be seen guarding doors or entrances to the main control center in the Dalek time ship in episode 3 of The Chase. Different variants were later seen in the planet Mechanus, searching for the Doctor in episode 5 of The Chase. These Daleks were not designed or supported to look any different than the others. They were extra Dalek props hired by the BBC for the first Dalek movie. Their bases were removed in episode 3 to make them fit in more, as they would have appeared taller than the others. Their lights were also replaced for the same scene, although the original headlights were reinstated for episode 5. They can easily be spotted because of the darker head dome and lack of slats. The Supreme Black Dalek, again seen in 1965, the original solar-powered Supreme Black Dalek. The Supreme Dalek made a brief appearance in The Chase, then appeared fully in the Dalek Master Plan, where it commanded the operation to find the Time Destructor. The Emperor's Daleks, first seen in 1967, these Daleks have a black dome and were originally commanded by the Dalek Emperor. The Grey Dalek Warriors, first seen in 1972. These dark gray Daleks appeared several times. They first appeared in Day of the Daleks under the command of gold-colored Dalek Day of the Daleks was the first TV story to feature the Daleks in color. Newly painted Daleks appeared in Genesis of the Daleks under the command of Davros. Later, in Destiny of the Daleks, one of these Daleks had survived and appeared to be in command of some of the lighter gray Daleks. The Gold Dalek, first seen in 1972. This Gold Dalek appeared in Day of the Daleks, and it commanded an invasion of Earth where the Daleks changed history. This Dalek also made a brief appearance at the end of Frontier in Space. The Supreme Council Dalek, seen in 1973. The Supreme Dalek was sent to the planet Spiridon to represent the Supreme Council of Daleks. The Silver Dalek Warriors, first seen in 1974. This set of Daleks was stranded on the planet Exelon. The color scheme was silver and black, a lighter change to the gray color scheme seen previously. The leader of this set of Daleks had orange lights. The Dalek weapons were useless on the planet Exelon, so they created new ones which were a lot thinner. Next, we'll take a look at the classic series Daleks. These are post-Davros Daleks. The Dalek Warriors, as first seen in 1979, the Daleks were involved in a long and costly war with the Movellans. They realized that neither the Daleks nor the Movellans had any advantage, as they were both machines or robots. A group of Daleks returned to Skaro in search of Davros, their creator, as they hoped he would help them find a way to defeat the Movellans. The Renegade Daleks, first seen in 1984. In Resurrection of the Daleks, these Daleks rescued Davros from a prison ship. After the rescue, Davros betrayed them and hoped to create a new Daleks. A group of renegade Daleks did survive. The Supreme Renegade Dalek is first seen in 1984. This black Supreme Dalek led the mission to rescue Davros. Necros Daleks, first seen in 1985. These white and gold Daleks were Davros's new improved Daleks. More advanced Imperial Daleks appeared in remembrance of the Daleks. Supreme Renegade Dalek, as first seen in 1988. This black Supreme Dalek was in charge of the Renegade Daleks searching for the Hand of Omega on Earth in 1963. The Imperial Daleks, first seen in 1988. White and gold Imperial Daleks. These are the new and improved Imperial Daleks, led by Davros. These were the first Daleks able to fly or hover properly. And the Special Weapons Dalek, first seen in 1988. The Special Weapons Dalek made a brief appearance in remembrance of the Daleks to help defeat the Renegade Daleks. It is one of the few Daleks to feature a complete redesign in the TV series, and recently appeared in Asylum of the Daleks, although it wasn't seen moving and only used in a couple of scenes as a background Dalek. A newer design of the Special Weapons Dalek is used on the Engines of War book cover, featuring the War Doctor. Let's take a look at the Daleks during the Time War period. The Time War Daleks, as seen in 2005. These are the ultimate Daleks. They were designed by Davros to fight in the Time War against the Time Lords. The Dalek shell can open up to reveal the mutant inside. The weapon and head sections can rotate, making it almost indestructible. The eye is the weakest part. The Imperial Guard Dalek, also seen in 2005. The Imperial Guard Daleks were used to protect the Dalek Emperor. Dalek Sec, leader of the cult of Skaro, first seen in 2006. Dalek sect was the leader of the cult of Skaro. The cult of Skaro were formed to find new ways of fighting and defeating the enemy. They survived the Time War by hiding in a void ship, which was placed outside of time and space. The Supreme Red Dalek, as seen in 2008, little is known about the Red Supreme Dalek. Dalek Khan went back in time and saved Davros from the Time War. Then he created a new race of Daleks. In the Stolen Earth, Davros is shown to fear the Supreme Dalek. The Ironside Dalek. World War II camouflage Ironside Dalek, or as seen in 2010. This Dalek was the same design as a Time War Dalek. These camouflage Daleks appeared alongside a new race of Victory Daleks. Let's take a look now at the Paradigm Daleks. The White Supreme Dalek from 2010. This Supreme Dalek was the leader of the new Dalek paradigm. The color scheme of this Supreme Dalek was white and gray. Previous Supreme Daleks had more of a black base color scheme. The Blue Strategic Dalek, first seen in 2010. The Strategic Dalek was part of a new Dalek paradigm. The color scheme of the Strategist Dalek was blue and gray. Red Drone Dalek, also seen in 2010. The Red Drone Dalek was part of the new Dalek paradigm. The color scheme of the drone was red and gray. The Yellow Eternal Dalek. From 2010, the Eternal Dalek was part of the new Dalek paradigm, as the other color schemes that were new. This color scheme was in yellow and gray. Orange Science Dalek, also seen from 2010, had a color scheme of orange and gray, and was also part of the new Dalek paradigm. That brings us to the newer version, or from 2012, the Blue Strategist Dalek. In a story that wasn't seen on TV, the older Bronze Time War Daleks and the new purebred Paradigm Daleks had joined forces. There were subtle changes made to the new Paradigm Daleks. The Drone and Strategist Daleks had a darker tone paint scheme. The back of the design had altered slightly as well. The Red Drone Dalek, first seen in 2012. In a story that wasn't seen on TV, the older Bronze Time War Dalek and a new purebred Paradigm Dalek had joined forces. There were subtle changes to the new Paradigm Daleks, and this one had been in red. Now we'll move on to the post-Time War Daleks. The Skaro Daleks. These were seen in 2012. A slightly newer version of the original Skaro Daleks first appeared in Asylum of the Daleks. The only difference with this one was a subtle blue coloring of the shoulder section. This Dalek version also appeared in The Magician's Apprentice, where it was seen traveling outside of the Dalek city. The Dalek Warrior. A slightly newer version of the original Dalek Warrior, which first appeared in A Magician's Apprentice. The only difference with this one was a subtle blue coloring of the shoulder section as well. The Guard Dalek, as seen in 2015. Presumably, these were the early versions of the Emperor's Guard Daleks, the only difference being the lack of slats and the blue shoulder section earlier in Dalek history. The lack of slats meant that Daleks couldn't leave the city, and if these were originally guarding the Emperor, presumably they'd have less of a reason to leave the city. The Skaro Model Dalek, as seen in 2015. This Dalek appeared very briefly in the TV story The Magician's Apprentice. This was mainly a pre-war Dalek warrior with the Time War Dalek base. The last color scheme we're going to look at are the 60s movie Daleks. First one we're going to look at is the Skaro Dalek. Blue, silver, and gold movie Daleks. The blue, silver, and gold Daleks are normally Dalek soldiers that lived in the city of Skaro. They are powered by static electricity from the floors of the city. The second-in-command Daleks. The red, black, and gold Dalek was second in command. It is powered by static electricity as well from the floors of the city. The first-in-command Daleks. Black, gold, and silver movie Dalek is the first in command, and they were powered by static electricity from the floors of the city. The Dalek soldier. The blue and silver Daleks are normal Dalek soldiers. The second in command, black, silver, and gold movie Dalek. The black, gold, and silver Dalek is second in command. The Dalek saucer commander. The red Dalek is in charge of the Dalek saucer. The first in command, the gold Dalek was the leader of the Earth-based Dalek operation. Next, let's take a look at Davros, the creator of the Daleks. Davros was first encountered in the Fourth Doctor story, Genesis of the Daleks, played by Michael Wisher. He was the chief scientist of the Kalades, a mutating race contaminated by nuclear and biological weapons. The evolved mutants were weak and crippled. His solution, in order for them to survive, was to remove all emotions and place them in a Mark III travel machine. He named these creatures Daleks, an anagram of Kalades. Davros became obsessed with his creation, considering them to be the ultimate form of life, superior to all other forms. The next appearance of Davros was in the Fourth Doctor story, Destiny of the Daleks, played by David Gooderson. The concerned Daleks were searching for their creator, who had apparently been in suspended animation since his death in Genesis of the Daleks, to help them win their war against the Movellans. A Fifth Doctor story, named Resurrection of the Daleks, saw the third appearance of Davros, now played by Terry Malloy, when a small Dalek force freed him from his space station prison in order to find an antidote for the Movellan, created virus that had all but destroyed them. Davros returned again in The Great Healer in the Sixth Doctor story, Revelation of the Daleks. Davros was using frozen bodies to create a new loyal race of Daleks. Davros was destroyed and thought to be dead, but he reappeared in his traditional black Dalek-style chair. At the end of the episode, a group of renegade Daleks took Davros away to face trial. The next and final on-screen appearance of Davros until 2008 in the Seventh Doctor story, Remembrance of the Daleks, Davros was known initially as a Dalek Emperor. He made his retreat in an escape pod, his ship being destroyed by the hand of Omega. Davros returned, wanting once again to destroy all life except Dalek life. Dalek Khan had flown into the Time War and rescued Davros. However, when the Doctor arrived on the Dalek Crucible, it was the Supreme Dalek who was in control, and not Davros. Before the Daleks, in The Magician's Apprentice, Davros was seen running through a minefield during a war. It was here he first encountered a doctor who saved him from the hand mines. After the Time War, Davros survived. After Journey's End, now based on Skaro, he sent Colony Seraph, a snake creature, to find the Doctor. Davros eventually tricked the Doctor into giving some of his regeneration energy to renew the Daleks on Skaro. We now look at the home of the Daleks. This is the planet Skaro in the Dalek city. Skaro was home to the Kalids and Thals. A nuclear war broke out between the two races. The Kalids' chief scientist Davros created a casing for mutated Kalids. He also called it Mark III travel machine, later to be known as a Dalek. The planet Skaro, the planet itself, has very rarely been shown. The image is Skaro getting destroyed in remembrance of the Daleks. The image on the right in Skaro from the 1966 TV movie where the Doctor was taking the Master's remains from Skaro back to Gallifrey. The Daleks didn't feature in this story. Skaro after the Kalid-Thal War. The Daleks were not aware that any Thals survived the war, as they could not leave their city. The Daleks couldn't leave the city as it was provided the static electricity they needed to operate. The Thals had evolved and adapted to the radiation. Below are some pictures of the Dalek city. The map on the right charts the history of the Thals. The Emperor on Skaro. The second time the Doctor saw Skaro was in The Evil of the Daleks. This time the Daleks were controlled by the Emperor that lived in the middle of the new Dalek city. During the Kalid-Thal War, the Thals and Kalids were at war with each other. Both lived in separate domes on Skaro. Davros betrayed the Kalids, as they wouldn't allow him to complete his Daleks. Davros helped the Thals launch a nuclear attack on the Kalid dome, wiping out the Kalid race. A destroyed and presumably abandoned Skaro was shown briefly in Asylum of the Daleks. A Dalek agent had been sent to capture the Doctor and take him to the Parliament of the Daleks spaceship. Skaro after the time of war. In The Magician's Apprentice, Skaro returned with Davros and the Supreme Dalek in command. Daleks from different eras were seen inside the city by hovering, flying outside the buildings. Dalek ship designs. The Daleks have used many different ships, including a time and a void ship. Traditionally, Dalek ships have been in the shape of a saucer. Original Dalek saucer. The Dalek saucer first appeared in the Dalek invasion of Earth. This was the first Dalek spaceship shown on TV. The Dalek time machine. The Daleks created a time machine to follow the TARDIS. Like the TARDIS, it is bigger on the inside. This was first used in The Chase. The Supreme Dalek Council ship. This Dalek ship was used in Planets of the Daleks to transport a Dalek from the Supreme Council. The Dalek saucer. Another smaller and more basic Dalek saucer. This was seen in Death to the Daleks. The Dalek battleship. This Dalek battleship was shown in Resurrection of the Daleks. It was commanded by the Supreme Black Dalek and was sent to rescue Davros, the creator of the Daleks. Like the Dalek saucer, this ship also had powerful weapons that were used to disable the space station. The Renegade Dalek spaceship. This Renegade Dalek spaceship appeared in Revelation of the Daleks. The Renegade Dalek landed on the planet Necros to capture Davros, their creator. Not much is known about this ship. It was never seen in battle, so it is not known if it has any weapons. The Imperial Dalek shuttlecraft. This Dalek shuttlecraft came from the Imperial Dalek mothership. It was sent to Earth so that the Imperial Daleks could defeat the Renegade Daleks and capture the Hand of Omega. Imperial Dalek mothership. The Imperial Dalek mothership was seen in remembrance of the Daleks. On board was Davros, also known as a Dalek Emperor. Time War Dalek saucer. The new and improved Dalek saucer was used to fight in the last Time War against the Time Lords. It has been shown in multiple episodes since Doctor Who returned in 2005. The Dalek paradigm. The daytime of the Dr. Dalek saucer. Into the Dalek. A Dalek saucer attacking the rebel space station, Aristotle. The Void Ship. The Dalek Void Ship was shown in Army of Ghosts, Doomsday. The cult of Skaro used it to hide outside of time and space so that the Dalek race would survive. The Dalek Crucible. A space station shaped like a planet, the Dalek Crucible was going to be the new home for the Daleks after they completed their plan to wipe out every living thing with the reality bomb. Dalek Time War Patrol Ship. Dalek patrol ships originally used in the Time War. These ships were seen in Day of the Doctor and The Time of the Doctor. The 60s movie Dalek saucer. This Dalek saucer was used in the second Dalek movie, Dalek's Invasion of Earth, 2150 AD. Out of all the 60s and 70s spaceships used, this was one of the most impressive. Dalek weapons. Here are some of the weapons and devices that have been used in Doctor Who by the Daleks. We start with the Dalek gun. Every Dalek has some sort of weapon. This is the standard Dalek gun. The Dalek manipulator arm. The manipulator arm is generally used to open doors and pick up objects, but it can also be used as a weapon. The Dalek cutting device. This device was used to cut through doors, walls, and other obstacles. The Dalek fire cutting device. This device was used to cut through doors, walls, and other obstacles. The Dalek claw. This device was used to operate controls. The seismic detector. This was used to locate the TARDIS. The flamethrower is an alternative weapon used to cut through stuff. The electrode unit. This allows the Dalek to control electric currents. The Dalek scoop. This device was used by Daleks in the factory to place mutants inside the Dalek casing. Dalek cutting device version 2. This device was used to cut through doors, walls, and other obstacles. The claw arm. Claw arm has a flamethrower used to cut through doors. The sensor arm is a powerful weapon used on Daleks guarding the Emperor. The laser cutting weapon. A Dalek with a laser cutting weapon was briefly seen on one of the Emperor Guard Daleks. A syringe. This was used to inject something into Dalek's sex casing. The Dalek claw, used to operate Dalek machinery. And the human Daleks. The Daleks now have the ability to convert humans into Dalek-like creatures. The asylum of the Daleks. The Dalek asylum housed millions of Daleks that had gone insane or malfunctioned from previous wars. The asylum was fully automated, so no supervision was required. The Dalek Parliament had no way of knowing what the battle-damaged Daleks were up to. The asylum planet appeared cold and abandoned. A force field was put around the planet, imprisoning the Daleks. The force field could only be controlled from inside the asylum. The Alaska, a starliner, crashed into the planet. The Daleks feared that if the ship could get through the force field, then the asylum Daleks may get out. The Parliament Daleks captured the Doctor, Rory, and Amy, and sent them to the planet to turn off the force field. The Parliament Dalek spaceship would then destroy the planet, preventing any Daleks from escaping. Okay, let's take a look at Dalek anatomy. We'll take a look at the list of Dalek parts. Part A is the lights. The luminosity discharges light up when a Dalek speaks. B would be the eye, and the eye stalk is the weakest part of a Dalek. Underneath the eye, the stalk is a Dalek ID tag. C would be the sucker arm, and the sucker arm can manipulate objects and be used as a weapon. D would be the solar panels. The Dalek uses the solar panels below the dome to collect power and convert it to static electricity so the Dalek is able to move freely. Part E is the gun, the powerful Dalek gun. Part F is the main chamber. The main chamber can open to reveal the true mutated Dalek creature. Part G will be the globes. Some of the Dalek globes contain high explosive charges for offensive action or self-destruct. The rest of the globes are used for collecting information about the current environment. Part H will be the Dalekenium. The casing of the Dalek is made from a metal called Dalekenium or Dalekenium. And Part I is the power, the Dalek's motive power system. Lastly, we look inside a Dalek. The Dalek mutation. Originally, the Dalek creature remained a mystery. In the first Dalek story, all that was shown was a claw hand sliding out from under a blanket. Later in the 60s, the Dalek appeared as a mutated blob. In the 80s, the same idea was applied, a green-colored mutation. Between 1963 and 1988, it was rare seeing a Dalek interior. A Dalek mutation was clearly shown living and speaking in the 2005 episode Dalek. The Dalek's original mutation. In the first Dalek story, the Doctor, Ian, Susan, and Barbara captured a Dalek and removed the mutated creature inside and wrapped it in a blanket. Only the claw below was shown. Ian and the Doctor opened the top of the Dalek so that Ian could get inside. Ian controlled the Dalek, allowing them all to escape. The Dalek Mutation Factory. In The Power of the Daleks, a Dalek factory is shown where Dalek mutants are fitted into their casings. Resurrection of the Daleks and Revelation of the Daleks. In Resurrection of the Daleks, we get to see remains of a Dalek after a group of humans had blown it up, removing the head. In Revelation of the Daleks, Davros was turning humans into Daleks, which is shown in the middle. Remembrance of the Daleks. Like in Resurrection of the Daleks, we all got to see where the remains of the exploded Daleks. One Dalek remained active. The claw reached out and grabbed the Doctor by the neck. Dalek. The first time we get to see the inside of a Dalek clearly was in the episode Dalek, where the casing opened to reveal the mutant Dalek. The Parting of the Ways. The Emperor Dalek. In The Parting of the Ways, the Emperor of the Daleks creature was clearly visible in glass casing underneath the dome. Dalek Sec appeared more greener than the previous Daleks. The bottom half of his casing also opened. The picture on the far right shows his human form. The Dalek Khan. Dalek Khan flew back into the Time War to save Davros. During the process, Dalek Khan became insane. Into the Dalek. The Doctor, Clara, and crew of the Rebel space station, codenamed Aristotle, go inside a Dalek via the eye. Rusty. The Doctor nicknames the Dalek Rusty. Below are different sections inside Rusty. The belly of the beast on the left, and antibodies protecting the Dalek on the right. The Dalek Organic Refuse Disposal. Daleks use the protein gathered from harvested victims, which is stored in the Organic Refuse Disposal. The Dalek Brain. The Cortex Vault, the supplementary electronic brain, the memory banks that keep the Dalek pure. The Dalek Heart. The heart of the Dalek and the organic Dalek creature,